Everything is Awesome is part of Courts and Parts, a podcast network featuring pop culture, TV, movie, and geek podcasts. Check out some of our other shows, like TV Ate My Brain, Let's Chat with Revelin Friends, and Podstalgic at courtsandparts.com.
Awesome. Just tell people they're awesome and mean it.
Awesome.
Awesome. Awesome.
Did you have an awesome time? Did you drink awesome shooters and listen to awesome music and then just sit around and soak up each other's awesomeness?
Awesome. Awesome. Awesome.
That was awesome.
You guys are awesome.
No, you're awesome.
No, you are awesome.
Sir, you are awesome. Seriously.
Awesome. Awesome. Awesome.
Everything is awesome.
Welcome to this week's edition of Everything is Awesome. I am your host, Kev, and this is the show where we sit down and talk to awesome people about awesome things. This week's guest, it's going to be a fun, probably loud interview. This week's guest, I actually have to thank QPod, Dave Steele, for kind of making happen, because he shot me a text message or an email or something a few weeks back and said, "Hey man, I was on this show and I shouted you out. You gotta check it out." I'm like, and I didn't have his number saved to my phone, so I was like, "Who the hell is this? What are you talking about?" And eventually found out that it was Dave talking about the Horribly Awkward podcast, which is a podcast that I've known about just basically because of Podern Family on Twitter. So if you guys know me and know like the podcasting community that's everywhere but Reddit, you know I'm really kind of for it, and it's all positive vibes. So as soon as I listened to that episode, and just the whole theme of this podcast, Horribly Awkward, is such an amazing concept, I had to have him on my show. Please welcome to the show, host of the Horribly Awkward podcast, and because yet again, for the, we'll say 60th time in a row, I'm terrible at my job, I only know his first name, Shawn. Welcome to the show, Shawn.
Hello, Kevin. Hi. Thank you for inviting me. I enjoy your voice cast. Very nice.
Thank you. And I like that this is how you're starting the show off, so that any of your listeners know what's going on right now, and my listeners are like, why is he so weird?
I'm not weird. I'm very quiet. I'm very social hermit.
Well, now, see, I think the social hermit thing, I don't think is actually a lie. I feel like podcasters and entertainers are actually that.
Oh, no.
I don't know. Are you kind of a what's that, an introvert?
I am not sure, Kevin. Nice to meet you. Thanks for inviting me. Hold on. I take a drink. I take a sip of my mojo. Hold on one second.
Okay. Let's see what happens here.
Woo! Yeah, what is up, Kevin?
Oh my God! There's that mojo kicking in.
Yeah, what is up, dude? I'm actually excited, man. I've been listening to your podcast lately, and I love the fact that you're one of those talking son of a bitches, which means this is gonna be easy. You know, we both have guest-driven podcasts, so when you get a guest that talks as much as you, it's fun because you don't have to do any work. Yes. It just happens.
Exactly. That's what I love about this format that I do. Is that it's simple. There's very little prep, as everyone of my listeners know. I do no prep. So the fact, like, it's just so laid back compared to like doing an actual podcast where you have segments, and like yours, I feel like Horribly Awkward podcast, I feel like there's a lot of prep that goes into that. Is there a lot of prep that you do for each show?
Yeah, it's not as much prep as you think. I have a guideline, which is basically my intro, and I change a couple things in the intro to gear it towards whoever I have on. You know, I write a couple of new things to switch it up a little bit, but basically it's that. You know, I start off every episode by doing an improv skit, and then I do my intro, and then in the middle somewhere we stop and do some shout outs. In the end, it's basically the same format. There's not a lot of prep. I like to have people on that I'm generally a fan of. That way I go into it with as much energy and enthusiasm as possible. But no, I don't really do too much too much research. If I have someone on, I'll go like an actor or something. I might go through their IMDb and write down a couple notes. That way, I don't forget to bring it up because I'll often just forget shit. I'll go, damn it, I didn't talk about that. The most important thing. I didn't talk about that. Like, I dropped the ball.
Yeah, that is where I've had like I hate saying this word, but we'll say it. Higher profile guests. And that's like, so Erin McGathy is one of those. I had her on my show last year. She's a podcaster. This Feels Terrible, Human Conversation. First time I really heard of Erin McGathy was on Dan Harmon's podcast, Harmontown. She was married to Dan Harmon for about 11 months. And I'm just a huge fan of hers. She was like, I have like 3 podcasters that I look to as like kind of my muse. Erin McGathy, Aisha Tyler, and Kevin Smith. Mm-hmm. So the fact that I got her on was like huge for me. She was the first like big name.
Hold on, Kev. I have this drinking game with your podcast. Got a drink. You said Kevin Smith.
Oh my! You are the second person. I'm gonna take a swig because I actually prepped a drink tonight. A little SoCo and Coke tonight for the show.
I know. What's that? All SoCo, little Coke.
I actually, now that I'm 32 with kids, I do a lot more Coke than I do SoCo these days.
You do a lot of Coke, huh?
Whoa! Wait a second. But yeah, you're the second person to create a drinking game based off of Kevin Smith drink being one of the key words.
I only brought one. Don't kick me in the balls for this. Don't hate me for this. But I bought one bottle right now, just from the fridge of Bud Ice. Ice. And I just literally drank 3/4 of it in that beginning part, and now I just finished it. So
that's funny.
Let's roll. Let's go, man. Go.
So I know. So you're a West Coast kid. Are you actually? Are you born and raised out there?
Yeah, I was born and raised in Santa Clara, California. out by. I spent most of my summers at Great America Theme Park. Now that's where the new Levi's Stadium is for like the 49ers. I don't know much about sports, so you could ask me anything. I don't know anything besides Joe Montana, Michael Jordan, Shaquille O'Neal. I'm running out. Hold on, Magic Mike. No, not Magic Mike. Magic Johnson. Let's see. The Browns, the Cowboys, Giants. I ran out. That's it. That's my sports history. I don't know nothing.
That's funny. It's and I mean I know the one episode that I recently did. I don't know if it's aired yet. We actually went on like a pretty long sports tangent, and it's funny because like I found it in this podcasting world. That like I'm pretty knowledgeable unless I'm on a sports show, but like pretty knowledgeable with sports compared to other people. Whereas in the real life, I'm such like I don't want to say a fake fan because I bleed green. Like I'm a huge Eagles fan. I'm from Philly, so like every Philadelphia team except for the Sixers because it's basketball. Who cares? I love the Eagles, the Phillies, the Flyers, and but like when it comes to actual like deep conversations beyond like current rosters and maybe like the rosters of the 2000s, is when like I get lost. Like especially with hockey, like I don't even know the current roster. So don't worry, we don't get heavy into sports in this show.
Yeah, hockey's the one with like the cold weather, right? You slide around on those little metal things.
Yes, those Canucks. They it's their national pastime.
I have to admit though, I do like the Mighty Ducks, the movies. D2. Back in the day, Knuckle Puck. It's Knuckle Puck time, boys. Like I dig that shit all day, man. But
it's funny you bring that up. I would say within the last 60 days, I went on this weird Wikipedia rabbit hole where. For some reason, I was like, Mighty Ducks, like, let me read up on the Mighty Ducks. Because they are still a real team. They're just called the Anaheim Ducks now. But I went on this, and I probably spent 2 hours when I should have been doing anything else, reading about not only the Mighty Ducks movies and like the like just the plots of all 4 of them on Wikipedia or however many movies are. There's a cartoon based on the Mighty Ducks. I read about that. I read about the actual Mighty Ducks and how Disney owned them up until about, I don't know, 5 or 10 years ago. And yeah, so that's ironically up until probably about 5 years ago was the most amount of hockey I knew was from the Mighty Ducks as well. Because well, at least that first movie is so great.
Yeah, I mean, those movies, for some reason I don't like sports, but I do enjoy sports movies. I think it's the triumph, and they're just working towards something, and then they always make the game seem so fun, and you get into it, and then they fucking win, man. You're like, yeah. You're like, yeah, I'm a sports fan. And I leave the theater, and I'm like, yeah, what sport was that? I forgot already. But I do enjoy that stuff. I don't know why I enjoy that, but I actually, you know what? I have gone to, like, the Fresno Grizzlies. I'm in Fresno now, so we had the Fresno Grizzlies here, which is like, what do you call that? I don't know. What is it called? Minor league, maybe? Minor?
Yeah, minor
so
league.
I've gone to those games, and it's a lot of fun to actually go in there because you can yell stuff as loud as you want, and security doesn't come over and take you away. You know, you just yell like, like, ah! And that part's fun. But other than that, I don't know, man. I'm one of those guys who try to avoid anything that's going to make me angry. If there's
that's good.
Yeah, there's a 50% chance you're gonna be fucking pissed, right? There's a 50% chance you're gonna watch a game, you're gonna lose and get angry. I don't want that. That's why I don't follow presidential debates. I've never watched one of those. I don't vote. Yeah. I don't want to get mad. I don't watch sports. I don't watch esports. I don't do anything that's gonna make me mad. If I play Call of Duty and I lose 3 times in a row, I'm out. Turn it off. I'm out. Man, you know?
That's actually a great mindset because. I mean, as a Philadelphia fan, usually we're angry like 90% of the time because our teams just suck. So, you know, and that's like a torture that we put on ourselves. And that is, you know, something that, and even like with football for me, because I'm a bigger football fan than anything else. So it's not just the Eagles. When I'm watching any game that I have like any kind of vested interest in, whether it be the fact that I just like whatever team I'm rooting for, or like the Super Bowl this year, like I haven't been angry at a Super Bowl in probably since the Eagles lost. I think that was 2008, maybe 2006, and I have not been angry at a game as much as I was watching the Falcons just lose control of that game and slowly watching the Patriots make a comeback. I was shaking when we left my in-laws' house because they had tied it up and went to overtime. And then I put myself through more torture listening to it on the radio. So I 100% understand the, like, avoiding getting angry aspect, because sports is definitely a big catalyst for that. First-person shooters in general are a big catalyst for that. I actually stopped playing first-person shooters around the age of GoldenEye because I had a friend who was just way too good.
yeah. Because in GoldenEye, you can screen cheat, man. You just look at their little box and compare it to your little box, and you know where they're at if you're good enough.
Yeah, well, and that wasn't necessarily what angered me because because going into the future and this, like, watching my friend who was really good at GoldenEye play, like, he's just really good, like insanely amount of good. Like, I think he's trained by the CIA good, and so it took me from GoldenEye to Black Ops 2 to finally like play a game again. And now I started playing Battlefield 1 recently, and I say started, like I played it once about 2 weeks ago.
Yeah, Battlefield 1's dope, man.
But I really enjoy. I'm terrible. I'm a shitty first person shooter player, but I really dig like the whole concept of you can fly a goddamn blimp.
Yeah.
You can be in a plane, tank. So like the fact that like where it's at today, like really just kind of interests me. And when I have time to sit down and play, like I do enjoy it. It sounds like you're a huge gamer. Like what games are you a big first person shooter? Or are you something else?
Oh, dude, I just like games. Dude. I'm a gamer. First, I'm a gamer. Now it's about 50-50. So I'm a gamer slash podcaster. I used to have a podcast that was all about games, but I mean, trying to keep up with the gaming news is exhausting. You gotta be checking the internet every single day, writing down notes if you want to do a gaming podcast and deliver all the news. I mean, dude, you you know what I mean. If you gotta take more than 3 notes for a podcast, you're like, come on, this is work. I need to be paid for this at this point. But I like
exactly.
I like all games. I like adventure games. I'm mostly into story single player stuff, but I do like Battlefield 1 and Call of Duty, all that.
This is a word that I drop often, but I feel like it's appropriate. I feel like Patronus. I feel like you're my Patronus, my friend.
Wait, dude, whoa, man, that's a heavy word, dude. Hold up, dude. Hey, grab this by the S. I got the P. Grab the S. Grab it, dude. We'll hold this up.
I got it.
Lift it up.
All right, I lift it over my head.
Patronus!
I broke my back.
It's on you, dude. You're holding it up by yourself. Dude,
that's why my back's
you're holding it up by yourself.
I'm going to die.
I got it. We'll put it down.
Okay, good. Whew. Listen, at 32, that back doesn't last as much as it used to.
36, man.
So what got me is your first person story game. So you like the Telltale type games?
Well, no, I'm more into just like, action adventure stuff. Mass Effect. I just played this game called Horizon on PS4, which is, dude, it's so incredible. Such a good game. Tomb Raider is one of my favorite. My all-time favorite game is BioShock Infinite. That's like the love of my life.
All right. What I like about the Telltale series of games, like The Walking Dead and Back to the Future and stuff like that, is that the amount of commitment is so low key.
Yeah, it's true. 2 hours, 2 hours for an episode.
Yeah, and that I love it, and I love that it's story driven, and it's like one of the reasons why, like Uncharted, I've played a little bit of, and like The Last of Us, I've played a little bit of, and because it's all very cinematic and very, I don't know, there's just something about it that like it's like I'm watching a movie as I play. And it's just when you have kids, the best way to play video games, honestly.
Because if you get stuck in a choice, you can just kind of let it sit there for a sec and then come back. It's not like you have to pause it. You just it's there, man. It's an easy game to just hang out with. I made the mistake with Telltale games, and for me, playing them as they're being released is the big mistake. Because you lose interest in between. There's like months in between. And you're like, when's the next episode coming out? And by the time there's so many of those titles that I didn't finish, I got to the last episode and just like, dude, it's been too long. I've lost interest. So I decided to start waiting until the whole entire season is out, and then I'll start watching it that way, which I think might be the best way to do it.
Yeah, I agree. Because that was, especially with The Walking Dead, not because it's a better game than anything else, but it's that and Back to the Future and Jurassic Park were the 3 series that I've played so far. And with The Walking Dead, at least with the season 1 and season 2 games, that they were like, we got episode 1 released, episode 2 is going to release next month, and then like 3 months later it finally came out, and I'm like, what the? Like they were so far behind.
Yeah, I don't remember what happened. I have no idea what happened.
Yeah, so I agree with you. Like those games are good to like kind of like wait until they're and like for me now that like the new whatever the newest one is for Walking Dead that's out or in the process of releasing month to month, it's like, oh shit. Well, now I need to it's been so long. I kind of want to go back and replay all like season 1 and season 2 to see what's going on, just to kind of refresh my mind.
Yeah, that's true. I like that Walking Dead Michonne because it was 3 episodes. It was so easy to just play that and just sit down, and I played the whole thing in one shot, like 4 hours. It was easy.
Oh, wow. Yeah, I downloaded that probably about 2 or 3 months ago to my PS3, and I have yet to play it because like I downloaded it, and then I think about a week later I bought my Xbox One. So my PS3 ended up in my what I'm using as my little mock studio for when it's cold out. I know you don't know what that experience is because you're out west, but in Philadelphia we get snow.
Oh, I was running the air conditioner today. Let me just tell you something about cold, man. I had the air conditioner way low. Like I had the air conditioner set like 70. It was freezing.
And meanwhile, I was like, let me put my heat to like 73 today because
you're trying to get to 70. I'm trying to bring it back to 70.
It's because my normal studio is out in my shed, which is not heated, so it's just very cold right now out there. So like I set up in here, and I have my PS3 out in my fake studio, but in the living room where the nice TV is, I have the Xbox One. So like I realized like when I bought the Xbox, I was like, I really made a mistake of continuing to buy these games on PlayStation 3. I think I'm going to spend the money again on Xbox One versions of these games so I can play them on the nice TV.
Yeah, hell yeah, man. I got the Xbox One. I got a PS4 Pro. I've got, I got a gaming rig. So on my PC, I've got a lot of games. I go between all three of them just pretty fluently. I really want to Switch. I kind of want a Nintendo Switch. I just don't know because there's not a lot. I'll just be playing Zelda, and then I have to wait 8 years for something good to come out, probably.
Well, my buddy got the Switch. I don't have the PS4, and like I had the opportunity to make a decision because I had an Xbox One that actually broke while it was under warranty, so I got it repaired. And while I guess my parents didn't know I got it back for when Christmas rolled around, and they actually got me the Xbox One S. And I was like, oh, crap, now I have two Xbox Ones. And they're like, well, let us know what you want to do. If you want to return it and get yourself a PS4, let us know. I'm like, all right, let me think about it. And, like, because I don't game that heavy anymore, I'm like, getting a PS4 feels like it would be a waste.
It might be, dude. I mean, you're only going to do it for the exclusive. Since you have an Xbox One, it's like mostly everything's there. But, Kevin, there's games like Horizon you're missing out on, which might be one of the better games I've played in a long time. There's a lot of other games. But, I mean, for the most part, you're getting all third-party titles are on both systems, and that's where the majority of the good stuff is.
Yeah, and I mean, at one point, like, the reason I bought a PS3 was for MLB The Show, going back to sports. Like, I was just a huge fan of the show, which is only on the PlayStation console, and I played it for, like, 2 weeks before I moved on to something else, and I'm like, all right, well, like, PS4, I don't think the PS4 is that important right now, like... And I'm talking to another friend of mine who has a PS4 and an Xbox One, and I was talking about the games like Uncharted, or isn't Uncharted even just is that an exclusive to PlayStation?
Yes,
still?
hell yeah, it is, man. That's Sony's baby right there.
Yeah, so I was talking about that one, and he's like, honestly, dude, like the way you play games, if you're just interested in watching that story, go to YouTube and just watch it as a movie, and you'll be good. You'll know what happens.
Yeah, that's actually true. I've been kind of getting into the JRPG, so I played Final Fantasy 13 recently, and I'm not used to the turn-based strategy. I kind of start getting sleepy when I'm doing turn-based combat. But I really wanted to play because I played Final Fantasy 15 and I loved it. And I'm playing it and I'm skipping battles, so I'm not properly leveling up. So I finally get to bosses that I spent 2 hours on and I couldn't beat it. So I was like, you know what? Screw this. What I did is I went to YouTube and I watched all the cutscenes because there's a lot of story in Final Fantasy. I watched all the rest of the game, the story on YouTube, which was like an hour and a half of cutscenes. I was past the middle part of the game, and there's still an hour and a half of cutscenes. Man,
that's that Final Fantasy. Now that's like my all-time favorite series.
Oh, really, man? I'm new to it. Final Fantasy 15 was my first one.
Yeah, I think my first Final Fantasy I guess it was probably the first one on regular Nintendo, but the first one I really kind of like. Remember having a connection to is Final Fantasy in the States. It was 2, but it's actually Final Fantasy 4 on Super Nintendo. And then that was just like for me, it was a great game, great story. And then Final Fantasy 6/3 in the States was is I think considered to this day still like the best story Final Fantasy has ever put out. Final Fantasy 6 is what it's called from now, pretty much now across the board.
Oh, okay.
It's the one where like you have the World of Ruin, the World of Balance. It's Super Nintendo one. It's I don't know. I forget how long the game is, but it's one that it's the one I played. I think it's it's the second one. That and Final Fantasy 4 are the only two Final Fantasies I've ever played start to finish. I shouldn't say that. About 10 years ago, that was probably true. And then 10 years ago, I said, before I die, I'm going to sit down and play through every single Final Fantasy because this is like the series I love of video games.
Yeah, you love it so much you haven't played them all, man. That's not love, dude. That's like having a girlfriend I mean, I love her, but every once in a while I gotta go out and get some strange. Like, like I love her, but I gotta get some strange. So I'll come back to her when I feel like it. Come on, man. You gotta devote to this chick, man.
That's what the problem is, especially now, like I with all this podcast and just in general, like it's hard finding the balance of content generator and content like content customer almost. So that's been a problem for me since I've been podcasting for 10 years.
That's crazy, man. 10 years I've been listening to that. You've done a lot of shows, dude. You are dude. You are the podfather, dude.
I wish that was true. Like, but there are so many other people out there that have been doing it for 10 years and are still doing the same show that they started or a variation of it. And what I'm really kind of proud of is the fact that I have been like a true fan of the medium for 10 years. Or probably a little bit longer because I started listening before doing it. And like, it's despite like the level of quote unquote fame or lack of fame I have, which doesn't matter to me, anymore. That was something that I cared about 10 years ago. I mean, it's something I cared about probably as recent as about 3 years ago. And so I realized that I should be doing it for me, not for other people.
Yeah, that's true. If you're doing it for other people, that's when it becomes work. You're like, I'm doing this I'm doing this, and this to please you and you. Like, if you got 100 comments in one day saying how ridiculous or stupid something was, then you should probably look at that and go, okay, this might not be working. But it's like, you might get that one asshole who goes, oh, I didn't like the way you said this. And you're all of a sudden, like, for a guy like me, I get in my own head like, oh, is it really that bad? Oh, is it really bad? Or, I've had people jump on, I'll put random videos. I record videos, so every once in a while I'll throw some of my videos on YouTube. And every once in a while you get a comment like, this is terrible. And I start thinking like, oh, was it that terrible? Blah, blah, blah. Am I terrible? Why am I doing this? I'm a fraud. And you just got to, like, and then with Horribly Awkward, I've been like, I'm doing this for me. This is what I want to do. I want to do improv with guests because it's fun, and it might be awkward or weird for someone who just pops into podcast and hears this terrible acting, because it's not terrible acting, it's completely improv. But to someone who doesn't know, they don't know that. That's why I started saying in the beginning, like, horribly awkward improv. But before that, people just thought it probably said, this is a terrible skit. Like, how they didn't even think this one up? No, because we didn't. But it's like, I'm doing this for me. I mean, as long as I'm having fun doing it, I'm going to keep going, but never just start doing shit for other people unless you're getting paid to do it. If you're getting paid to do it, if you're getting paid to do a side project, do exactly what they want to make that money. But other than that, man, you just gotta do you. Kev, you gotta do you, man. And your podcast is good. I'm digging it, dude.
Yeah, that is something that took me so long to learn, is like, to do it for me, don't worry about, because like after 8 years you're not making money off a podcast, and like you said, like all the notes you were taking for your gaming podcast, and it started to feel like work. Like that's what it was. Like, not only was I like trying to find a way to make money off of it, therefore it became work, I was also prepping the show and had like, whether it was the one show I was on or I was doing 2 or 3 shows at the same time, trying to get the same people in the same room once a week became such a pain in the ass that I stopped doing it because it wasn't fun anymore. And this show, Everything is Awesome, finally kind of like reignited the love of podcasting that I had 10 years ago. Because I don't have to rely on anyone else. I have to set up interviews. I would say that the workload is probably about the same. It's just different. I spend a lot of time emailing people to be on the show, or a lot of time prepping, like, okay, let's see how many shows I have like ready to schedule, and let's see, I'm going on vacation this week, so I have to get this many in. The month of April is there's a international tabletop day in the month of April, so I kind of want to do bonus episodes of me playing like tabletop role-playing games with people and air them for 5 weeks in April. I want to start doing my show live, so I have to put time into that. So all my energies are just used differently.
Yeah.
But because I'm doing it for me, and because it doesn't feel like work, it's way more fun. It's way more satisfying, especially creatively. And I think that's like the most important thing as a creative person. Like, you need to make sure that that's fulfilled, and then figure out a way to make money off of it. The way I always look at it is like 10 years ago, I started the wrong way. I started doing a podcast looking how to make money, whereas really you start a podcast for the love of something, and then like you just build those foundation blocks, and eventually things fall into place where you maybe not make money, but like something happens for you. And that's kind of what, after, within a year of me doing this show, those foundation blocks like formed, and I was able to start doing live shows. And then building off of that, I was able to like get Fuck Cancer to help support a live show that we did in January. And that was huge for me. So like we're hoping to do even something bigger for the next anniversary show we do next year in 2018. So like, it's just all those building blocks are finally paying off. I'm not making money at all, but like, they're paying off, and I don't know if they're paying off, how they're paying off. I don't know how to describe it. It just makes me happy, and I'm still doing the show. And that's all you can really ask for.
I'm going to help you out here, Kev. All right, cue your Patreon ad right here. Ready? Sorry, this is Kev. We're going to clean up house. Patreon, ready? Go.
Inserted. It's I mean, that's and that is something that, like, I'm not good at marketing. I know.
It's so much. It takes so much energy, man. I mean, to have guests on, it's not only you connect with the guest, have them on, and it's done. It's more than that. It's like trying to connect with people, keeping your ears and eyes open for good fit, because you don't just want to have anybody on. You got to have somebody on that you can talk to, because if it's like I said, if someone comes on and it's work and it's not really a conversation that's really working, I got to keep my ears open for people who like, okay, will this person want to do improv? Oh, I'd love to have that guest on, but would they do improv? If they don't do improv, am I losing something? Would it be awkward to not do it one week?
Yeah,
you just got it is a lot of work, man. It's exhausting.
Yeah. But it's and I'll ask you, like, but the exhausting work that you're doing for Horribly Awkward, does it feel like work, or is it just
sometimes not really, not really. Every once in a while I get lazy and I'm like, I didn't set anything up for this week. I have a small pool of friends, close friends, a lot of podcasters that I could probably hit them up and get them on. But right now I found this way to clear up a little bit of stress, and it does help, is just stay 1 week ahead. So like record this podcast this week for next week's podcast. That way you have a little bit of breather room in there in case something goes wrong.
And that breather room is so important. Yeah. It's something that I when I started recording episodes for this show, I said it's not this way anymore, but I said I'm going to have at least 4 shows banked before I start releasing anything. That way I can just record 1 or 2 interviews a week, and I'll always have 4 in the bank, so that if I miss a week, it's not a big deal, and then I can make that up. And that's turned into like, right now I'm almost a month ahead, because I'm getting ready. We're going to Disney in 3 weeks. So I just want to make sure that I have everything ready, so that even like the week after we're home from Disney, I don't have to worry about recording an interview as soon as I get back from Disney.
Yeah, for sure.
So like that's been, so the buffer zone is huge. I think you can have too much of a buffer, and I think generally in a month out is too much, because it keeps the conversation we're having now, it might not make sense a month from
someone's
now.
Someone's doing a review on Split. Yeah, I went and saw Split this weekend. It was awesome. Or someone's like talking about their Thanksgiving dinner. You're like, come on, what is going on, man? Welcome to the buffer zone.
And that is a zone that there is like a happy median for. And I found that to be about 2 weeks. I like to I record and I try to release within 2 weeks of that. Sometimes I'll get an interview where I'm like, oh, that was just, there's something in there that like, oh, whether they're promoting something or whatever, let me release it as a bonus episode. And that's something like, I actually have one that I was supposed to post on Friday as a bonus. As long as I post it by the end of Sunday, I'm good. But so every now and then I have to post 2 episodes a week just because of whatever. It's just whatever's in my stupid head that makes me say I have to post it.
Dude,
twice
I
a
gotta
week.
say, I absolutely love you, dude, because you are just like me. It's like we make these timelines and these dates for no reason. Nobody gives a shit besides you and me. I don't know why. It's like mine is Sunday. Like I used to record on Sundays, and then I put it out that Sunday night. Right. This is before I started adding sound effects to the improv skit.
Yeah.
That takes me like 90 minutes now just to edit just that section. So it's hard for me to do one Sunday, put it out Sunday. But it's like I had to have one out Sunday, every Sunday. And it's funny because nobody gives a shit, man. It's like you give a shit, I give a shit. But the listeners don't care. They'll get it. If it's a day late, they're not gonna care. But to me and you, it's like, oh God, I'm getting gray hairs. I'm like my whole body's tense. Like I gotta have one out. You're telling your family I can't go out to dinner. I got a podcast that has to be out tonight. Like I can't go do this. And it's like it's funny because nobody cares besides us, man.
No, do you number your episodes or no? I forget.
I do number them. I just I don't know. I find a little bit of pride in a number, and also I like the guests to know like you're 82, so I'm not like, so when the next week comes out, it's not like I stuff somebody else's in front of yours. Like this one's more important. Let me put it in front of yours. I don't know how you do it, man, but I feel like I let them know what episode they're gonna be on and when it's gonna be out.
Yeah, for me, I don't necessarily. I try to like give a guesstimate of when I'm releasing it. I try not to give assign a number to it, like as I'm hosting it. I do like I probably in my notebook. I probably have a number for what episode this is going to be.
What number is it, Kev? What number is it, bro? I need to know right now.
600.
600.
600. It's gonna release in 10 years.
Sweet.
It's the buffer zone, man.
Welcome to the buffer zone. We're in a much bigger buffer zone, so welcome to the buffer zone. It's kind of echoey in here, Kev.
Don't worry about it. Don't.
Kevin.
No.
Kevin.
Nope.
And Kevin. And I don't know if I like this buffer zone.
For me, the numbers are like they're so important, and they shouldn't be. It's one of those things that only matter to me and my dumb brain. Yeah. That like in November, my uncle passed away from cancer.
Man, I'm sorry to hear about that. I've heard you talk about that. Were you close to your uncle?
Yeah, he was more of like an older brother to me.
Oh, wow, dude,
he was 15 years older than me, or like 15 and a half years more older than me. So like, and he worked like he was just my cool uncle. Like when, for a while, my family lived at the house that he lived at. It was his mother's house, my mom's house, or my mom's grandmother, my mom's house.
I'm confused, man. You said so many different things, man. But I'll roll with it. Let's go.
I lived with my uncle for a while, for whatever reasons, and so we were always close. Like he was just the cool uncle because we were close in age or close-ish. He worked at Blockbuster Video when that was a thing.
Oh, nice! You guys got to hook up on some rentals.
Yeah, so like 5 free rentals, I think a week or something like that, and we were able to rent I think at the time like I maybe had a Super Nintendo, and like. To get the Super Nintendo, the rule was, well, I had to sell my regular Nintendo. That was what had to happen. I had to get rid of it. I had to trade it in or whatever. You did back in those days. So I did that, but like we were able to rent the Sega from Blockbuster and like be like the first people on the block to like play Sonic.
Oh, you were pimping, man. You were big pimping on that block, dude.
So he was just the cool, like my cool uncle, and like as I got older, like he just became like an older brother. He's the guy who introduced me to Kevin Smith. He introduced me to Star Wars. He introduced me to everything that has kind of formed me as a person, and like it's so sad that I didn't realize that until really we found out that he's got days left. So yeah, he was like a huge important person in my life, and that's why we worked with Fuck Cancer for our Podiversary show. Where actually, I guess nothing's official. So it's not really spoiling anything, but like my goal is to do, like, he passed away in November. So to do something like, I actually talked to his wife, my aunt, today. And she was like, you did something in January for Fuck Cancer, like in honor of your uncle, and you didn't tell me? I was like, well, like, I mean, it was, I'm sorry. Like, it kind of like happened real quick. It was, sorry. And she's like, so why not November? I'm like, well, so my goal is to like do something very low, not low key, but very easy with Fuck Cancer, like to do like a 24-hour streaming event of podcasting in November. So, look for that, Super Friends. That might happen. And then, of course, I'm hoping to get them involved for our Podiversary show again in January 2018. But that's all future stuff. Future Kev has to worry about that. Fuck that guy.
Future Kev. Yeah, Kevin Smith. I mean, your uncle left you with some beautiful stuff, dude. He brought you into now you love Kevin Smith, so as long as you continue liking Kevin Smith, it's like a little part of your uncle always gets carried with you, man. That's freaking awesome.
Yeah.
That's I've never been that close to really many people in my family. My cousin Chris, maybe, but uncles and aunts, I'm not. I never been like close. I don't really know how that feels, dude. That's pretty awesome.
Yeah, and it's not because like every time, even like and before he was diagnosed with cancer, was when I think Force Awakens came out. Yeah, Force Awakens came out like a month or two before he was diagnosed. And like even before he was sick, like I sat down and watched Force Awakens in the theater. I didn't go. He lived an hour and a half away from me, so we didn't see each other as often as I would like. His son is about the same age as my son, a little bit older. So like we were real like so we just had a lot in common as well. And so when I sat down to watch Force Awakens, like, the first thing I thought of was the first time I watched Star Wars, and that was with my uncle. And that's something that's huge for me. That's something that means a lot, that even whether it doesn't mean that my connection to Star Wars and my uncle isn't just because he was sick and that he's passed away. Like before that happened, it still meant something to me because I sat down and watched a movie and I was like, God damn, I remember sitting down and watching the first one with my uncle, and that goddamn Tusken Raider popped up and scared the shit out of me as a little 7-year-old kid. And like that memory always pops up in my head, and it's the memory I tell everyone about when I talk about my uncle. Before, like my fiance, like that, like when we were at the funeral, his wife wanted people to like fill out a little story on a note card, so that their son has something to read about his dad when he gets older. And I wrote the same story that I just said about Star Wars, and something about the other big story is Bugs Bunny Birthday Blowout. That was a game when I was I don't know 5 years old, 4 or 5 years old.
That came out familiar.
For the regular Nintendo, and it was a game that I don't know if he bought it or what, or I forget the circumstances, but like we sat down and we played it, and it was before the save feature was a thing.
Oh, and saving. Oh, this is the Mario ripoff. I totally remember this.
Yeah, and we it was exactly a Mario ripoff, 100%.
Mario. Come on, man. He never says that. Woo, it's me, Mario. No, it doesn't. It says Mario. Come on, Kev. I'm gonna teach you something. Mario.
Whatever.
We can't move on until you get the right word. Say Mario.
Mario.
Okay, cool. We can move on.
And we ended up pausing it because it was like my bedtime, and he spent the night at I think we were living in an apartment at the time. He spent the night at our apartment, and I woke up the next morning and he said, I finally beat it. I stayed up all night and I finally beat it. And it's just like those little stories that I've told to so many different people on so many different occasions that just mean the world to me. So go support Fuck Cancer. Let'sFCancer.com. Go donate them some money and whatnot.
Are you saying fuck cancer?
Yeah.
Okay, awesome. You say it so fast. I didn't know if you were saying fought cancer or fuck cancer. I was like, either way, like yeah.
Oh yeah. Fuck Cancer. Such a great little organization. I came across them probably like 2 or 3 years ago because Stephen Amell, who the Arrow on the Arrow show on CW, he was like an ambassador or is an ambassador for them. He's also like on their board of directors or something. And he was like promoting like t-shirts and stuff, and I was like, oh, this is like, who can't get behind something that's like fuck cancer? And my uncle is very much that person, like very loose with the language, like there's plenty of pictures that I have in like a dopey little photo album from when I was a kid of pictures that I took as a kid of that. I would take a picture of my uncle and he's flipping me the bird, and like, it's just very like, again, I always think of this show as being explicit because I thought we cursed a lot, and I do curse a lot in or at least I think I do. I curse a lot in the real world, and that comes from my uncle. And that's just so when he was diagnosed, one of the first things I thought of was fuck cancer, because it's just it's very much my uncle, I think. And and so yeah, so they've been like a huge part of my life for the last year and a half now. And they were so cool. Like last minute, I emailed them about being part of our live Podiversary show that we held in January, where we had 4 other podcasts join us. So there was 5 podcasts doing a live version of their show at a bar in Philly, and they supplied us with a bunch of swag to give out and whatnot. And we're hoping to do something bigger for January of 2018. They've just been really cool. They're such a great organization. I know every cancer organization is probably great, but if you don't have one,
dude, I mean, there are organizations that really like they take donations and they get like such a big amount out of it. It's kind of shitty, man. There are those, but I mean, it's all for the same cause, right? As long as it's getting awareness that this and this.
Yeah.
I mean, you never think cancer is gonna be a thing until you have to deal with it like head on, and it sucks, man. I mean, my cousin, when he was young, when he was like, I want to say 7, 8, he had leukemia, and he almost died, man. He had like stage 4 leukemia, and through the grace of God, or whatever you call God, or whatever was looking out after him, he actually beat it at a young age. I mean, it was
Nice.
such a crazy thing. I mean, he was man, it made him so angry, and the medications, it just made him go crazy. But he fought that, and he's a full grown adult now, and he actually is, like, bless him, man. I mean, it's so awesome.
Yeah.
It's just like cancer. What? Why?
Yeah, it is such a, Ryan Reynolds said it perfectly. It's a cowardly fucking disease.
He also showed us how to test our testicles for cancer and whatnot, and some promos for Deadpool. So
that is accurate. That's 100% accurate. And that, that was something that was kind of like, I guess like the hidden message of Deadpool is actually kind of really great, where it's like, just because you have cancer doesn't mean you can't be a hero. There's like that little hidden message that I don't think anyone really thinks of, but like I thought of it when I watched that movie. Yeah. It's really cool. And anyway, let's we've gone on a really serious, kind of a serious subject right there.
Yeah, dude, like seriously, man, listening to you talk or talking to you is like, it's like taking the bus one morning, and there's that meth head who's been up all night, and he's on the bus, and he's like, and you let him know, you make eye contact on accident, right? He says, you make eye contact, you're fucked. He's gonna start talking to you. It's like Kevin talking in a bus, and you're like, every once in a while you try to get a couple words in there, but it's like rapid fire. You're like beating the drums. So it's like, man, Machine Gun Kev, woo! It's awesome, dude. I love it, dude. I'm usually in your position where I gotta keep doing this. So this is kind of awesome, dude. I'm enjoying it. I'm actually enjoying it. Good. 51 minutes. We had 51 minutes right now. Like,
yeah. It is amazing how time flies doing these interviews.
Yeah. You gotta love podcasting, man. It's such a the shitty thing about podcasting is there is so many people doing podcasts, and I have to admit a lot of them are not good. but there's such a saturation of stuff. There are some really good podcasts. I know so many people with some good podcasts. They put time into editing. They have good guests. They have good conversations. They're fucking funny, but they don't get the numbers they deserve because it's so saturated.
Yeah, and so there are two mindsets of that saturation, and I can definitely see that, like, where it's like, oh god, there's just so many. But I also like to promote, like, hey, you should do a podcast. Like, everyone should be doing a podcast because, and this is a really Kevin Smith mentality way of thinking.
Yeah.
He probably thinks that way because, like, it doesn't matter how many people do a podcast, he's still gonna get millions of people listening to him because
he's
Kevin
one of the
Smith.
top dogs. He's fucking Kevin Smith. He's got Smodcast. He's got Jay and Silent and Bob Get Old.
Yeah.
He's got all these. I mean, at one point he had like so many podcasts I was listening to every week, and I actually got kind of sick of it because I was listening to so many that I haven't listened to any in a while. But he's one of the king, like Hollywood. Hollywood Babylon. Like, that's a fucking fun show, man.
Yeah. Well, and I used to listen to every show on his network religiously.
I did too at one point.
And it was a combination of too much and just finding other content out there. Like, doing this show introduced me to a podcasting community I didn't know existed.
Yeah, true.
Like,
you become friends with them. So you're like, I want to listen to this person's podcast because I know him. So when he talks, I connect with that person. I know what he's saying. Later on, I can actually hit him up and say, dude, this was cool on the podcast. Or, oh, I'm sorry to hear about that. I mean, I know you. This is cool. We're like, this is like a personal diary, man. This is my friend's diary book that I'm getting to open up and just go, page 3. Oh, look what Rob was doing. Rob was what? Rob was doing what? Like me, I don't have very many boundaries, so I talk. I say a lot of things that are kind of weird on the podcast. I reveal stuff. I don't really care what people think about me. You know, if I bring up old stuff in my life, I've done a lot of stupid shit, and I'll bring it up because that's me, man. Get to know me. If you don't want to know me, then go to the next podcast because that's what you're going to get.
Hey there, super friends. It's Kev. I'm just going to interrupt this show for a minute or two so I can do some housekeeping. If you want to help support this show, you can do it in several different ways. One of those ways, I'll read your name on air right here, not just your name, but your whole review, by leaving a 5-star review, or any review, really. I'll read all of them. But hopefully you're kind enough to leave us a 5-star review on iTunes. Just go to our iTunes page, subscribe to the page, that way you don't miss an episode, and of course, leave that 5-star text review. iTunes Math does a lot of good things that make more people listen to the show, and that means more cool things happen to Everything Is Awesome. Another way that you can support is word-of-mouth recommendations. Just tell friends to listen to Everything Is Awesome. Put it on when you're carpooling together on your way to work or on your way to Comic-Con or whatever. And the final way, this one may cost you a little bit of money, but that's okay. If you go to patreon.com/thatentertains, the other ways you help support us are just as good, free for nothing, help us. But this one, if you pledge some money to us, we'll give you some more stuff in return. You know, and by we, I mean Jason Ashley from Too Cool for Tabletop and I, we like to say $12 a year, bro. $1 a month is really nothing to you. You skip anything for one day, and that's more than $1. And that helps make our dreams come true, really, if I'm going to be honest. That's entertainment, which is what funds this podcast, is running a Patreon, patreon.com/thatentertains. And I mean, really, honestly, if we could hit $25 a month of support, that would be wonderful. It means bills are covered for us, and that's really all I want at the end of the day. And everything else is just icing on the cake. It means we get to do more upgrades. It means we get to create more content. And a lot of the stuff that we want to do is at least early access for you guys that pledge to us on patreon.com/thatentertains, or we'll even do some exclusive content. We're working on some things now that we're thinking of for exclusive content that we'll do randomly throughout the year and whatnot. So again, if you want to help support this podcast, go to patreon.com/thatentertains. Not just supporting this podcast, but you're supporting That's Entertainment, which means that even more content besides this podcast will come at you. We're talking skits, sketches, web series, movies, a whole ton of content that we have that we want to do that will eventually get done anyway, but with your help, we can get it done sooner. If you don't want to spend any cash, I completely get it. I understand it. iTunes reviews help us tremendously, as well as word-of-mouth recommendations. Finally, you can also go to the contact page on awesomepodcast.com and subscribe to our newsletter. We're going to start sending out weekly reminders of the things that we've posted throughout the week, as well as spotlights on the guests that we've had on our podcasts. And we're also going to be sending out reminders or notifications about new things that we're working on, events that we're going to be doing and whatnot. So just another place to get some more detailed information. We're going to try to make it unique enough for you so that it's worth us invading your inbox. This has been more than a minute or two. So let's get back to the conversation. Before we actually kick back into the interview, I used to use Skype exclusively for these remote interviews, and I did it one of two ways. There's this program that I use called, I think, Call Recorder or some bullshit that recorded both sides of the conversation, but it recorded it through my internet connection and then combined it into one file. And whatever program I was using, at some point, it started this audio drift thing where people were answering my question before I asked it. It was super trippy. And it made me I had 4, this is back in the beginning when I had 4 episodes in the bank, and I listened to all 4 episodes I had recorded. I was like, they're all fucking ruined. After 20 minutes, the audio drift just fucked it all up.
Oh shit. Yeah. I record with OBS, and I record the video, and then I'm just capturing it live, and then I convert that to audio.
Gotcha. Yeah, that is, so there's, I'm kicking around. So there's certain guests where I can't use Zencaster for whatever reason. They don't understand it, and I get it. It's not I for podcasters, I usually send it because you're gonna figure it out. You do a podcast. Yeah. I have faith in you. But
cool.
Yes. But there's other people I have there's a couple actor friends that I know out west, out in LA, that they're just yeah, we're just going to use our Skype on our phone. So I'm like, fuck. So that setup is I have to go out into my shed because I have this interface where I just patch this computer with Skype into my mixer, and then I have another computer, a desktop computer, that records the whole thing. What I don't like that, because as of now, the setup I have records everything as one track, so I can't really master that. Whereas
that's what mine does. I record everything one track. I just make sure the levels are the same, and then I level it.
Yeah, and I can do that for the most part. It's usually what I do, and it usually turns out okay. But every now and then I get a little loud. Every now and then my guest gets a little loud. And God damn it!
I get loud all of a sudden. Why are you whispering? I'm not whispering.
And with this, I can post produce. There's a post production feature that will automatically post produce it for me. And every now and then I do that, but ultimately, I just like taking the individual tracks, and I'll just do a quick post production and matching the clip volumes myself through Audition and whatnot.
Yeah, you sound fancy, bro. I got a post producer. What's up?
Yeah,
I got a post producer.
I'm fancy. After 10 years, I should have a little bit of fancy terminology.
I like it.
It's weird because now that I'm doing the live shows as well, the one that I'm putting on is March 26th. I feel bad getting sponsors to do our sound every time when it's hey, I'm only having 2 shows. It's going to be a 2-hour event. So for the first time, I have to supply everything to do the sound. I'm like, fuck, this is completely different than just recording. I have to project to a live audience. How the fuck do I do that?
Yeah, how do you? I mean, not technically, but how do you do that, man? I mean, I couldn't imagine getting in front of people. No, I'm good.
Oh god, and I love doing a live podcast, and maybe some of this will make it to the actual recording.
No, it will. This is back in. We are back.
We're back. We're back. Welcome back. So doing a live podcast is so much fun.
I imagine, dude. That sounds like it's fun.
And I mean, not for nothing, your show is built to do a live thing. With your improv, and I
don't know, man. Do improv live? I don't know, man. I don't know.
Well, so let's. This is where, as I said before, I wanted to get into like the interview before we go. So your podcast, Horribly Awkward, is part interview, part improv, part all fun, not just part, all fun. What got you into podcasting? Like, where's your podcasting origin point? And does improv have anything to do with that? Like, where does improv come into play as well?
Oh, wow. Okay, hold on. Let me look through my drawer. Hold on. I need to get my serious mask. Hold on. Hold on a second. I don't really take it out that often. I don't get serious. Oh, here it is. Here's my serious mask. Does it sound weird when I have my serious mask on?
I mean, you sound a little Baney, but yeah.
It doesn't have a hole for the mouth. But should I talk? So I talk like this then?
If you want to talk like Bane for the rest of the interview,
in my head. I had a thought that I would be a famous podcaster. I can't breathe with that thing on. I don't like my serious mask, man. That's why I don't wear it.
There's no way Tom Hardy could breathe effectively while being Bane at all.
But he's getting paid like millions to do it, so it doesn't matter.
Exactly.
So podcasting for me came from just driving a street sweeper, working at night, trying to listen to the radio, and I'm like, fuck commercials. I can't stand commercials. So I look for ways to find entertainment outside of that, where I didn't have to listen to commercials. And I found podcasts. So I was listening to Loveline. I don't know if you've ever heard of Loveline with
like MTV Loveline?
Yeah, but it used to be also a radio show here in LA.
Oh yeah, you're right. Yeah.
With like Dr. Drew and this other guy, Psycho Mike, which took over Adam Carolla's place. So I was listening to those, and then I needed to find more stuff. So I found the Joe Rogan podcast, which till today I still listen to a lot of episodes, not all of them, because he puts out 6 3-hour podcasts a week.
Holy crap!
Well, not really. He does put out at least like 3 a week, and they're always like 3 hours or more.
Oh wow!
So I started, it was just like I was listening to podcasts, and eventually, there's a long way to get to this. I'll try to be quick. Okay, so listen to podcasts. Love podcasts. I started listening to 10 hours a night, and I still listen to 10 to 11 hours of podcasts every single night. And then I fell in this deep slump, and I became depressed, and I hated life. Life sucked. I met other friends through another podcast in their Facebook community. We all got together. We're playing video games, shooting, buddy. Hey, we can do a podcast. What? You think we can do a podcast? Yeah. Grenade out. You want to try? Wait. Pause the game. Oh, yeah, we'll pause the game. That was a little... Yeah. You want to do a podcast? Oh, dude, yeah, I think we could do a podcast. So it's kind of like that, man. It's more like we just decided to do a podcast. The Horrible Gamers was spawned. There were 6 hosts.
Oh, whoa.
6 hosts.
Holy
We all got
crap.
on Skype. We didn't know anything. We didn't know anything about recording podcasts. We had no intro music, no outro music. We just started talking. It was talking over each other. We were nervous. We sounded like little kids at school for the first time meeting a group of kids we did not know. That's what we sounded like, right? And then we did that. We did that for so long, man. And then slowly, like, this host couldn't do it no more. This host couldn't do more. One of our hosts was in New Zealand, so it was completely a different day when he was recording. It was a lot of work, dude. I got to the point where we all kind of like start slipping away. But the Horrible Gamers is still going, and my buddy Jesus still hosts it, and he has new hosts, and we're all friends. But I started the Horribly Awkward in there, and I started falling in love with that. The very first episode of Horribly Awkward, if anyone goes and listens to my first episode, it's actually a Horrible Gamers episode that was a bonus thing. And in the middle of it, I kind of decided to make it a Horribly Awkward episode, so there's no improv. And at that point, everything was kind of spawned. And I was like, I know how to record, I know how to edit, I know how to talk. I have a lot of social anxiety, so I get really scared, man. I mean, till this day, the moment before I get on Skype with somebody I don't know, I get real nervous, man. Including getting you on, man. I get a little nervous. I always get nervous. And yeah, I mean, just the horribly awkward was spawned, and so the very first episode, which is episode 2, I started off, and I was like, okay, everyone's doing interviews. I don't really want to do interviews. I'm kind of like you. I just want to talk and see what comes out. I don't want to have a structure. I don't want to have questions that I'm supposed to ask. I don't want these phony, fake, robotic answers. I just want to be me. I want to be loud. I want to be quiet. I want to help you pick up big-ass words for no freaking reason. I want to pretend like I'm shooting video games. Like, that's me, man. I'm all over the place. That's what you get. So horribly awkward. 9 minutes later, okay, horribly awkward. Yeah, it's just like the improv thing is something I feel is a lot of people like improv podcasts. A lot of people don't. So I only give them 4 to 5 minutes roughly every episode. So if they don't like the improv, they can skip through it if they want. But I mean, I say stay there because I mean I take a lot of time editing that part, and that's like where the most fun comes into is editing. And I don't edit things out, I only edit things in. So if everyone thinks that, oh, he's just editing out the crappy stuff so it sounds good. No, I leave all the mistakes in there. I just edit in sound effects to make it sound kind of like a movie.
Yeah. So improv, like, did you have any interest in it besides like the podcast? Like, did you, like, as a kid or as a teenager or an adult, like, say I want to do improv, or did this just come from being your wacky self?
Hold on a sec, Kev. My assistants are, because I got really sweaty and excited doing that. They're dabbing me with cotton balls. Hold on a second. Get all the sweat off. Yeah, right here. There's a little sweat right here on my neck. Yeah, thank you, Rachel. Thank you. What was your question?
So where did improv, where did that come from? Like, where's your interest? Is that because of the podcast, or like, did you take improv courses or anything like that?
I forgot how I stumbled across a podcast called Comedy Bang Bang. Have you heard of it?
Yeah, oddly enough, don't listen to it because it's on my list to listen to. I just haven't listened to it yet.
So I don't know how I stumbled across that podcast, but I really fell in love with that. I found it one day and I started binge listening to it for like a week. I listened to so many episodes. Like the host, Scott Aukerman, he's just a host. He's just a regular host. He does regular things. But then he has other guests who may be an actor or a musician, and then they'll have characters that come in, reoccurring other actors. They never break the fourth wall and say who they are. They follow through with that character the entire thing. So it's this combination of hosting and interviews and improv all at the same time. I really, really liked it, and I was like, I kind of want to do some stuff like this. I want to have fun. I want people to listen to my podcast to have fun with me rather than just feel like they're listening for something. I just want them to go along with the ride, because you're not gonna know what to hear, man. And then I mean, after I started my podcast, and I was like, I'm digging this improv thing, man. I don't want to get really good at it because a lot of the people who come on don't do improv. So if I'm like so good, it'll just make them feel bad. So I'd rather just be an amateur at it. But then I started listening to another podcast called Improv for Humans, which is improv skits, and they're really good, man. I love it, man. It's on the fly comedy, which I feel is cool because my brain is so random. I like hearing things that are so random.
Yeah, I asked because, like, I would say within the last like 5 to 10 years, I got like a huge interest in improv, to the point where I was actually, if you listen to my interview with James D'Amato, we talk about that because he's improv trained and whatnot, and he used that tool set to kind of create something with the One Shot Podcast Network. And I'm hoping that to actually finally this summer take an improv course, because it's, for me, like, I don't think I'm the funniest dude in the world, but I can be funny. And I want to, like, there was a decision that, like, a couple years ago, I was like, do I try to do stand-up like some of my other buddies that are doing? Like, I can make an ass out of myself for 5 minutes and not care. Or do I do something that's, like, a little less pressure, and, like, my other buddy has an interest in improv and learning it? And do we go and take some courses? And, like, the big thing I love about improv is that typically you're not up there by yourself. So it's a lot like doing a podcast live. Like, shocker, my live podcasts, the only prep work I do is booking my guests. I don't prep for an interview, and my live shows I dub them Everything Is Awesome Late Night, and I do like a late night spin where
Everything Is Awesome Late Night with Kevin, your host Kevin. Hey.
And to the point where I had, like, my co-host is like my Andy Richter, or my how am I having this brain fart? Jimmy Fallon's dude, Steve, whatever his name is. But, like, so, like, we intro the show, like, the music, it's a different version of my theme song plays, and it's him saying, live from wherever, it's Everything Is Awesome, and
Everything is awesome.
and he does his bit, and you know, we do a little monologue and whatnot, but like I don't do any prep, so it's a little like it's improv. I mean, but it's not like typical like improv.
It's like sketch comedy improv, yeah.
Yeah, it's just improv in the sense that like I'm going up there and we're gonna talk, we're gonna tell some, like we like have general ideas of what we're gonna joke about, but we for the Philadelphia Podcast Fest, the first live show I ever did with Everything Is Awesome, we wrote jokes, and it was awful. It was the worst first 20 minutes of a podcast ever. So I learned,
stand it, man. I can't stand the heat, dude. It's like I couldn't be a stand-up comedian or do live shows because I feel like if I bomb in person, I'm gonna take that home with me and just hold on to it forever. I bombed this one time, it didn't hit. I didn't get laughs. I didn't chuckle. They just looked at me with disappointment, man.
I'll tell you what, though, I think the podcasting audience, I think, is very forgiving, especially if it's like I'm seeing a bunch of amateur podcasts. Like when we have an audience at the Philadelphia Podcast Festival, they're not seeing one mainstream podcast. Hopefully this year, we're for the 5th year, we're hoping to book someone that's a little bit more mainstream. And I say we, because like unofficially I'm part of like, I'm a part of the, I don't know what you call them, committee, the board. I like to call myself the director of awesome for the Philadelphia Podcast Festival.
Welcome to the stage, the director of awesome, Kevin, come on down.
And it's one of those things that are going to get added to the intro for my future live shows now, because I was on, this was like the big highlight for going back to my January show that turned into like something special because we had Fuck Cancer involved. I was on a local radio station on 95.7 Ben FM. Did an interview with them, which was weird because I had to talk about fuck cancer without saying the word fuck.
Yep. Can't you just leave it out? Cancer.
Well,
I think you said cancer. You know, it's got to leave that UCK out. Just cancer.
So
everybody who's listening, cancer.
But that was like so cool. Like that was, I went into the studio and like sat down with the morning host, and she was like, yeah, so this is what we're gonna do. I'm like, can I? And we started it. I was like, before we talk about anything, I was like, I was gonna tell you this off air, but I have to tell you on air. This is a dream come true. Me sitting in a real life radio station, because like that's how podcasting started for me.
Yeah. Skip to 16 minutes later. Kevin, can we start the interview? You just gave me a whole rundown of your entire life. I mean, can we start the interview? I mean, we've been here for almost 17 minutes, according to my watch. I mean,
the podcast, because what they do is they air it on Saturday mornings, and then it's also a podcast. Like this is only supposed to be 40 minutes long, and we have 2 guests. And get to your point. You're having a show.
The pressure,
asshole. But yeah, so I don't know how we got on this tangent. Live shows, I think the pressure is very low key because I'm not an actor. I'm not a comedian. I'm not an improver. I am quite literally someone who just knows how to talk for a real long time.
Yeah, it's cool, man. It's you're good at it. You're very good at talking for a long time. You have a promising career in the podcast sphere, man.
Yeah, once I can find a way to make money off of it, I'm golden.
Yeah, you could do solo podcasts. I mean, you can do an hour of material by yourself, dude.
I have.
I do like every once in a while, if something happens, I'll do like a little 2-minute monologue before the podcast, and I'll record that 18 times because I cannot do it. I get it's not natural for me just to talk out loud to myself. I do it over and over and over.
I ironically, when I sit down to do, every now and then the show has pre-intros or I do like a little commercial or whatever, those things that I record that are supposed to be 2 minutes that usually end up being 5 minutes, shocker, those things usually end up taking me an hour to record because I will stumble over words and whatnot, and they become, those are a little bit more important to me, so I'll usually end up like re-recording them or editing them or whatnot. Whereas, and these are some of my favorite episodes that I've done, is I've done 2 episodes where I interviewed Batman. Shocker, I'm Batman. So I'm literally Batman. So that was the obvious joke that I did not go for. But like I sit in a car at my lunch hour and sit and talk to myself as Batman for 45 minutes to an hour doing an interview. I did that twice. I also episode 37 of this podcast was a Kevin Smith centric podcast.
Yeah, buddy.
So I sat down. The goal was to get Kevin Smith on the show. Obviously, I failed at that. It's hopefully what happens in the future. But for episode 37, I wanted it to be a Kevin Smith episode, whether we had Kevin Smith on the show or not. And so I sat around talking about Kevin Smith and what he meant to me. And it was right. I think at the time, I think episode 37 was before my uncle passed. So like it was also kind of like centric about my uncle. And then around, I think, going back to the whole fact that numbers play an important role for me in this podcast. The month of November, when my uncle passed away at the beginning of the month, I didn't record, I didn't post. I had a bunch of podcasts that I could post. I just didn't do it. Like I was just in a funk for a month or two.
Yeah, I get that, dude.
And so the week leading up to Christmas, it was so important for me to make sure that our 1 year anniversary episode was episode number 53, which would be the first episode of the new year. It was, I made sure I released, I think 7 episodes, or 6 episodes the week leading up to Christmas, just so that my numbers matched up. So like right now, whatever episode will number, like episode 600. So in 2027, when this episode airs, it will line up with whatever number, it's going to be episode 600. Cause it's such an important thing for me, to have, I don't know. It's just that dopey thing. Anyway. So do your show live, I think.
Dude, I'm in Fresno, California. There's there's nothing cracking over here. If I go to LA, man, but that's like 3 hours away. I was like, you want me to drive 3 hours? I'll fall asleep. I got sleep apnea. I don't want to die. You want me to die, Kev? Is this an easy way for you to just admit that you want me to die, Kev?
It's an easy way for me to say that podcasting is more important than your life.
Okay, I totally agree on that. We agree on something, so.
No, but you know what? I would never, and I'll tell. I feel that kind of same feeling you have, because I have yet to book. I don't live in Philly. I always say I'm from Philly. Shocker, I'm not. I'm from the suburbs.
You're a liar. You are a liar.
I am from Levittown, Pennsylvania. I am not from Philadelphia. So, for me to go do a show down in the city, usually if I want to drive, it's about a 45-minute drive. So you're talking an hour and a half round trip. If I want to take the train, it's usually a 2-hour round trip plus an Uber ride to the venue. The goal is to do a live show locally one day, where I'm doing a show in in Falls Township or in Bristol Township, in the suburbs of Philadelphia. I would love to do a live show, but the fear of no one showing up in Philadelphia,
I know.
Does not exist for me. But the fear of no one showing up in literally the town I live, where people know me, like that fear is huge, and I haven't gotten over that fear yet. Because I've done a show where no one showed up in Philadelphia, and I didn't care, because whatever, we were also broadcasting it live through Facebook, so like, I was doing it to a audience, but I don't have that fear in Philly, because who cares? I'm having fun. I'm going to have fun regardless if people are there or not. My jokes, my improv, my jokes may differ a little bit, but other than that, like, I'm still going to sit down and talk to my guests and have a good time.
Yeah, that's all that matters, dude. That's all. Yeah. I mean, imagine, like, a lot of people get discouraged by podcasts because they don't have 1,000 listeners on the first episode. I mean, if you have 10 listeners, imagine you sitting in a park with a friend, you guys are talking, and you got a crowd of 10 people making a circle around you, listening to you as you talk. They don't say a word. They don't interrupt. They just enjoy what you're saying. That is accomplishment.
Yes, that is. And when we did our first podcast live, I want to say that, my expectation was 0 people to be there. No, that's not true. My expectation was 3 people to be there. My fiance, my co-host's wife, and my fiance's friend who came with her. That was my expectation. And I thought there was only like 10 or 15 people there. I had someone who came in just after the worst 20 minutes of anyone's life, which was my monologue. And they said, and they ended up being a guest because they were a fellow podcaster. And they said that there was like, it was a full house. There was like 25 to 30 people crammed into this back room of a bar. And I was like, oh, that's fucking awesome. We quote unquote sold out the place. And that was great. And I've also done a show literally in front of one person. My guest wife was there, and that was it. And I did that show, and it was still a good time. We still had fun with it. We found a way to have fun because at the end of the day, even when you're doing a live podcast, you're still producing content for a podcast audience. They're going to listen to it on your feed. So like, who cares if people show up or not is my opinion. And like, I can see where like in Fresno, you may not want to do it, but like if you made the trip up to LA without dying, maybe you can. But
maybe. I might end up dead over there. I'll be there. Like you guys can, if you'll fly to California and you will like weekend at Bernie's me, we'll totally do it, dude.
You know what that is, like that's kind of in a Kickstarter term, a stretch goal of mine is to like be able to do not weekend Bernie somebody.
Weekend at Bernie's coming up, like Jesus, man, it's got dark.
That's not the stretch goal. The stretch goal would be to do a live podcast in LA because I have been lucky enough to do one in New York, and New York's like quote unquote like New York, LA, and Chicago are like the big podcast markets.
Yeah. Sure.
And for me, like one of the things that I'm doing as the director of Awesome for the Philadelphia Podcast Festival, and just in general, like the reason I have a goal in a 12-month span. I want to do 6 shows. So from January 1 of 2017 to December 31st of 2017, we will do 6 live shows, and we have scheduled and planned 4 of them, or have done a total of 4 of them already. And we're hoping to do our 5th one in New York for New York Comic Con again, not for New York Comic Con because we're nobodies, but unofficially for New York Comic Con. And then we're going to do like a holiday special that when my friend said, let's do a holiday special, I was like, can we just do an hour of our version of the Star Wars holiday special? Because I think that would be just gorgeous. And that was shot down right away.
I did a Christmas special, dude. This year I had my buddies from the Video Game Improv podcast, and that's what they do. They do improv based on video games. But they came on and we took voicemails and about Christmas stories, and we did improv skits on their voicemails. So it wasn't very Christmassy, but we did improv skits on their voicemails, and that was fun. That was like kind of like ho ho ho. This has been awesome, Kev. You're like a half hour ago. You're like, we gotta wrap this up. So I'm like, it's been a half hour, dude.
Yeah. This is gonna be one of those 2-part episodes. I'm sure.
No, man. Just give people what they want. They want a long episode, dude. My episodes are a minimum of 90 minutes.
Oh, really? Yeah, you know what? So I read some silly... I'm also like a big believer in like looking at podcast stats. Not my own personal stats, because fuck, I don't care about numbers.
Yeah.
But like, there's this awesome stat about podcasts and podcasters that like make it to 10 episodes, because every podcast that starts, about 50% of them get to 10 episodes.
Yeah, it's true.
And then, you know what? Get yourself to 50, because out of those podcasts that make it to 10, maybe 50% of them get to 50 episodes. So like, this is why numbers I think are important, because not everyone gets to 50 episods. Not everyone.
So
gets
you just
to
reminding everyone, hey guys, I'm on episode 83. I made it.
Yeah, and like, I think you should be proud of that.
Hold on, Kev. I need concentration. I'm changing my notes right now. Okay, so my episodes for now on. We'll go, welcome to Horribly Awkward, episode 83. That is 33 episodes past the point of making it. Stick around.
Yeah, you know what? I'm not that much of a stickler of calling it out in the episode, but
I am.
Yeah, there's another stat that I recently. So like. This other awesome stat that I read, and it really kind of
after an hour and 15 minutes, people lose interest.
No, that stat is more or less something that I try to keep my shows to an hour, but I do not necessarily hold myself to, because recently I've been releasing episodes that are up to an hour and 15, hour and 20. If it's an episode that can break into 2 1-hour episodes, I try to do it, but I also relied heavily on that last year. Which meant that, like, instead of having 52 guests last year, I pretty much had 26 to 30 guests that, you know, a majority of were two-parters. So
you can always throw the second half out, like, midweek.
Yeah, I it's something that, you know, I haven't had to play with yet in quote unquote year 2 of Everything Is Awesome. So
I just came and messed it all up. I'm like, I'm just keeping you here, but I have proof. I'm looking at my little sound waves compared to yours, and you're doing all the talking, dude. So this is your fault. If we cut your little sound waves down to the same size as my sound waves, we're at about 40 minutes right now, buddy.
Yeah, you're 100% correct. I'll take fault in this. This is what happens, like, when we have when we have my Patronus on the show, is that, you know, I try, like, I want to talk. I want to just tell you my life stories. So that you feel the same way.
Should we pick up this word again? I don't know, man. I'm a little out of energy. Last time we picked it up, it was I
broke my back.
Oh, that's right, dude. That's right. Yeah. We'll leave it down there. Everyone focus on the floor. Patronus.
Yes, it's a floor. It's a floor for. Oh God,
imagine
I can't.
The commercial. Yeah,
Patronus. It's like
sounds like a drink, man. It sounds like can let me get some of that Patronus XO off the top shelf right there. I'll take 2 shots, please, straight.
It is the. I shouldn't say it's the drink of Everything Is Awesome, because we had a specially drink made for us called the Awesome Bomb at one of our live shows.
Awesome, but that does sound awesome.
But oh God, it was so tasty. It was so like. It just was so, like, it was one of those drinks that don't taste like alcohol, so, like, you could drink it and just get really drunk because you're just going to keep drinking them, keep throwing them back. You're going to throw them back like a couple of, for me, Miller Lights, but for you, Budweisers. And
it's cheap, bro. It's cheap.
Hey, you know what? I agree. I'm a Miller Lite guy. I'm no better than you. I mean, I am, because it's not Budweiser, but other than that, I'm no better than you. It's funny. It's funny the war that Miller Lite fans have with Budweiser fans.
I'm picturing a horribly awkward made drink right now. It's mostly okay. So it looks kind of yellow. It looks like a lemon drop, right? It's mostly vodka. It's kind of strong. It's got a little bitter taste. It's got some lemon in there. It's got actual human urine in there. You can't taste the human urine as much, but after you're done drinking it, someone goes, "This is horribly awkward, but you just drank my piss."
I mean, I would not want to drink it because I would probably go and vomit. But
you don't know till afterward, man. You don't know till afterward, and then after that point, you're in. You're like you're into the inside joke. So you just wait around the counter waiting for somebody to order a horribly awkward, and then everyone looks, and by the end of the night, everyone's at the counter looking at that one guy. Hey, I heard the horribly awkward's pretty good. Buy it. It's pretty cheap. Oh, I have to order a horribly awkward. The guy's like, 1 sec, turns around. Tinkle, 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 tinkle. Try this, sir. Like, that's a little. It's tasty. I taste lemon, and I don't know. What is that other? You just drank my piss, sir. Horribly. And then the whole crowd around the table is horribly awkward. Episode 33 past 50. I'm just kidding, dude. I'm getting a little carried away here. But since we got me here for a 2-part episode, we got to do some improv before we get out of here.
All right. Well, because I'll let you run that, because again, okay. I don't improv. Okay. I feel like there was something else going on. Let's just go with your improv, because I forget what that is. I forget what the other thing was.
My name's Shawn. My name is pronounced Shawn, like S-H-A-W-N, but it's spelled J-O-N. And kind of awkward. It's French. It's more like Jean, but I go by Shawn, which is awkward. I'm horribly awkward. Horribly awkward is based around my social anxiety. Everyone just calls me Iams, just like the dog food, because it's way easier than trying to say, hi, Shawn John, or Jean Shawn, or Jean, or Jean.
Wait, I don't know if this is real or improv right now.
100% fact, dude.
Wait, your name's not spelled the way I see it on my screen right now?
That's the way I spell it, but yes, it is spelt Jon. It's Jean. It's French because my dad was a drug addict and he just, I don't know what was up to. He's not in my life, but I go by Shawn. I changed it to Shawn on social media and stuff so people could find me, and it wouldn't be so weird that people start calling me John all the time because I'm not a restroom. I'm a human being.
Well, but with Jean, you can be like the Martian. I don't know if you're a comic book fan, but the Martian Manhunter, John Jones. John Jones.
I don't know. I thought you were going to say Marshall Mathers. I'm like, yeah, fuck yeah, I like him.
No. I went from the coolest thing, a white rapper, to the least cool thing, a Martian in the DC comic book universe.
That's why they call me Slim Shady. I'm back. I'm back.
Yeah, so let's tell people where they can find your show and whatnot, so that it's heard one part of the episode at least.
Yeah, well, let's say, okay, you can find it in a couple places. Mostly the easiest place to find it is go on Pornhub/horribly awkward. And see what you find. Start clicking on images, the little play button on there, and until you find me.
The sad truth is there is got to be a subpage of horribly awkward porn.
You know what? Let's just test this out, and I won't play audio to horribly awkward porn. Let's see, man. There's got to be something out here. Oh, you know what comes up? Horribly awkward show. Improv, interviews, comedy. First thing on that thing. This is hilarious. Oh, they're all mine, dude. 1, 2, 3. Okay, the first 3 are me, dude. Awesome.
Well, I mean, if every service is starting to offer podcasts, like Spotify has it now, and
well, the thing is, I put porn in my notes. I hid it down in there in like my categories or something. I think, just to get tags. I had on Sylvia Sage, who is an adult film actress. She's a porn star. So, I mean, I had porn on that episode. But the funny thing is her episode doesn't come up.
That's funny.
It is. Bugs, dude, do you rent, like, real shit, dude? I mean...
Yeah. Let my audience find your audience.
Yeah, I got the mask back on.
Oh, okay, yeah, get the serious mask on.
Yes, my name is Shawn, and I have a podcast.
Horribly Awkward is the podcast. You're going to get a lot of what you just got right now. It's just random ramblings. Not random ramblings with Rob. That's my buddy's podcast. It's just me being me. We do improv skits. Hopefully we're going to do an improv skit here in a second with Kevin. I'm excited. And you can find me on Podbean. I'm on Stitcher. I'm on iTunes. I'm on Tinder. I'm on Grindr. I'm on Plenty of Fish. Seriously, I'm on everything. I'm Twitter at awkward_podcast. Facebook. If you guys want to find me and be Facebook buddies, cool. Shawn IMs Fuller. But let me know who you are, because if I think you're one of those stupid motherfuckers who are trying to sell me Ray-Bans and shit, I don't want your Ray-Ban cheap deal. I don't care if they're only $20. I'm not falling for that shit. Keep your Ray-Bans. Keep them all yourself.
They are the worst human beings.
Yeah, and they hacked my Twitter a month ago, and luckily it wasn't my show account, it was my personal account, which is a lot smaller, but they went through and in the groups of 3 and 4 tagged every single person I was following. It's like I went and changed because the literal night before that, I got my credit card hacked.
Oh, that's awful.
They tried to buy like $1,000 furniture card and wherever you live, actually, in your neck of the woods. So this could have been you. But I was freaked out from that, and then the next day the Twitter thing happened, and I went and changed every single password I had, and it's all changed now. But yeah, like those Ray-Ban jerks, man, what the hell?
That's really the worst thing about like getting hacked is like, shit, now I have to come up with a new password and use it for everything.
Not only that, people were tweeting at me saying #unfollowed. Like, fuck you and your hashtags, dude. I don't even know who you are, man. You're just following you. I don't give a shit.
The only thing I've ever had hacked was my Instagram, to the point where it was shut down. Like, Instagram shut it down, and they wouldn't let me. Like, I went to go log in one day, and I brought it up on my phone, and it said, you need to log in. I was like, oh, that's weird. I guess, whatever. Every now and then I got to type my password in. And I went to log in, and it said, incorrect username or password. I'm like, bullshit, this is the incorrect. And I went to log in online or something, or somewhere it told me your account's been suspended. I'm like, motherfuckers. And
Assholes.
And I found it's because, like, someone hacked it. And usually when you get hacked, like, on Instagram, it's not those Ray-Ban assholes. It's, like, the adult star promoters. Like,
hey, my name is Crystal, and and a friend of mine told me you live in my neighborhood. We should hook up sometime and hang out. Like,
yeah,
really?
Yeah, and it's that, and it's just... So it's like, because I had someone message me one time, like, your Instagram account got hacked, man. And I went on and I saw it, and I, like, deleted the pictures and changed my password and whatnot. And then I guess it happened one too many times, and they suspended my account. And it took me literally about a month for me to convince Instagram to give me my account back. And that is when I started implementing for social media a password that I don't use anywhere else, and it is ridiculously hard. I have it written down underneath my computer, which is super safe, by the way. I'm in IT. That's not what you're supposed to do, but whatever. And yeah,
all your passwords are password 69.
Oh god, I wish that was a joke, but they're not my passwords. But I literally work with people that make their passwords password.
I've done that. I'm not gonna say I haven't done that. I've done that back in the day. Now I'm a lot smarter than that. But I've had like password 1.
Well, that's why your Facebook got hacked or your Twitter got hacked.
It wasn't that. But I had other accounts that were similar passwords, so I went through and changed everything.
Yeah, you got to. Like when Sony got hacked, I was like, God,
DDoS, yeah.
I was like, God damn it! Like that password is literally every password I have, and that I've had for the last 10 years. I don't remember half the accounts I have.
Yeah, I have so many now. Like you have those accounts that randomly will tell you need to change your password for security reasons. Like, God damn it! Like, how many different passwords do I need? So you're like, let me add a capital here and add like an exclamation point here and an @ and a hashtag and like. I got so many different passwords now. I have to have a book to like look at it and look at But there's sometimes where it's your fault, right? You're trying to sign in. It's like that's the correct username and password. You're like, what? Let me try that again. Like correct username and password. Like, no, I know this is. Let me get my book out. Yeah, that's it. And then you realize you had like the caps button on or something.
Yeah. And I like when oh god damn it. All right, never mind. I don't like anything. Damn it, I don't like anything.
Did you hear that thump on my thing a minute ago? Because a spider came down from my ceiling in front of my computer, and I'm like, oh, you fucker, you just came down the wrong part of the ceiling, man, right in front of me. I was like, this really just happened. He's smashed on my table right now.
Meanwhile, if a spider drops down where I'm at, you hear me throw my glass and I run away.
Oh no, this thing is.
I'll talk to you later, Shawn.
Small, dude. It's as small as an ant. It is so small.
When I used to travel for work, one time my manager met me somewhere in Virginia Beach, I think, and we were driving. He was driving the car, and there was a spider in the car that was on the driver's side, and it started to come down, and he literally swerved the car and like started to climb in the passenger seat. I'm like, dude, we're driving. What the fuck are you doing? We're gonna die.
Dude. Spiders don't do that to me, but if there was a big ass cockroach on my leg while we were driving, I would definitely die.
I when it comes to spiders, I am very much like that, unless I'm in the car, because I am very conscious of not wanting to die. I have a fear of death. I don't care about
dying, man. I just hate bugs. I mean, death is. I'll accept it gladly if I have to deal with a cockroach on my leg.
My thing is I just want to live forever. I want to find the fountain of youth, the elixir of immortality, so that I can live forever.
I know what that is. I can tell you, you're not gonna like it though, man. It's a small cell that's found in human semen.
Oh, so yeah. I'll pass.
Yeah, it got a little awkward, man. I mean, that's why I'm dying at a fast rate, because I refuse to drink that. But if you would like to, Kevin, I have a hookup.
No. I think I'm good. I think death is awaiting me quite pleasantly.
I've noticed that part. We just got it edited out, and we're back. Shawn got a little too weird. Sorry, guys. We had to edit that out.
why is this show only 10 minutes long now?
Yeah, it's why is only Kevin talking the whole time? Bunch of spaces in there.
I've accidentally posted that version of a show before where someone sent me a message, you're talking to yourself, and not in that Batman way. You're talking to yourself.
Oh, really? There was just gaps?
Yeah. It's like I accidentally muted my guest side, and I was
man.
Fuck.
You know what the shitty thing about Stitcher is? That episode will be there forever. Like, until you, if you just go back and upload a new audio, the Stitcher edit, since Stitcher takes your episode and streams it, you only get one download from Stitcher, and Stitcher gets all the rest of your downloads.
Yeah.
They'll have that. Like, they'll have that shitty version unless you delete that entire thing and start from scratch.
Yeah, I forget. I think that's what I did. I think that's what I ended up doing because it was like caught early enough where I was like, well, screw it. If someone calls me out on it, I will be called out on it.
Yeah.
I think I still am on. Yeah, we're still on Stitcher. I have a weird like.
Stitcher won't work for it. Playing your apps on Stitcher won't work. It just won't load. It keeps loading and loading and loading. It says error.
That's weird because I think that's where I tested it when you told me you were having issues playing it. I'm like,
maybe it's because I have Android. Like, I'll try it right now, dude. I mean, I have not been able to successfully listen to any of your episodes on. I had to go look for it. I had to go download them. So, man, I had to go the shitty old-fashioned way and go look for it, download it, and play it. Now my freaking hands in the spider guts. This is gross.
That's so. Is Stitcher? Well, I'm an Apple user, so for Android users, is Stitcher like the place to go for podcasts?
Yes, for us peasants with Android, it is the way to go. I look up to you, sir.
That's right. I'm a king. I am king.
Thou shalt not look me in the eyes. I am an apple. I am an apple owner, you peasant.
I was once a peasant of Android. I was the OG Android user with the G1. I had the G1.
Says error playing content. There seems to be a problem buffering audio content.
That's so weird.
Only on your podcast does it do that to me.
Because this is going to be the most interesting part of the show where we both go on our phones. And
yeah, this is interesting. This is like man, I like listening to podcasts and weird random shit happens and they're on the phones or they're Googling stuff or they're ordering pizza or anything that happens that's not planned. I enjoy that stuff because you're a fly on the wall. You're a little peeping Tom watching somebody through their window and they're talking and you're like, this is really interesting. I feel kind of dirty listening today. Like, it's cool because it's not planned. It's just people being people rather than cutting shit out. And you're like, I don't know. You know how people try to cut out stuff and you hear like jumps in their voices and you're like multiple times. You're like, that's kind of obvious. You're cutting stuff out there, man. Like, unless it really sucked, unless the conversation sucked. But I mean, like in our conversation, there's not even been a second. You're not even gonna see a clean place to take any audio out of this conversation. It's gonna be one over the other. Bam, 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 bam. It's gonna.
Well, that's the whole basis of this show. Like the reason I wanted to do the show, like I call it a long form interview podcast, but really it's not. Like I'm a terrible interviewer.
You are 2 hours and we went over 2 questions.
Yeah. So. and I feel like that's what makes this show a good interview show because it's more conversation. I always like to link into this show as like if you and I happen to be at the same bar and we started talking, that's what this show is. Because it's just, I don't know, I feel like that's a better version of the show.
It'd be more like this. Kevin, one more drink, I'll take a whole day aqua. Kevin, I swear we're gonna, bro, I love you, bro. We're gonna, we are gonna be rock stars at this podcasting, bro. We're gonna be Kevin Smith. We're gonna own Kevin Smith, bro.
One day we'll be his boss.
Yeah, you're gonna be his boss. You're gonna tell him what you're gonna say. I don't like red state. I want it to be blue state. Hey, that shit.
I'm gonna own I am Smodcast.
Dude, you are so you are smart. You are so hard. You are a gangster podcast, homie.
I'm the king of podcasts. I'm the king of all. I'm the Howard Stern of podcasts.
Dude, you are really a king, man. I just want to fan you with this big leaf and feed you grapes. Here,
Oh my God! Let me just kick my feet up, and I'm gonna eat these. Oh, that's good grape right there.
Oh, by the way, this is not our improv skit. We're gonna do one for real.
This is that's the practice for improv. So this is me on Stitcher right now, buffering.
Awesome is part of Courts and Parts, a podcast network featuring.
Yeah, it doesn't work on my phone.
That's so weird. That is incredibly weird how that works. I mean, it just shows the superiority of Apple.
Yeah, maybe. Let me try. Maybe I should I need to uninstall and reinstall Stitcher. Maybe.
But it is weird that it's just my show that does it.
Yeah, it's just your show. I mean, that I know of. I mean, just man, it doesn't like you.
That's crazy. Fuck Stitcher. I mean, unless they want to be a partner, then we welcome you with open arms. We are, as much as we say we hate things, we will sell out in a heartbeat on this show.
I'll sell it right now for $5.
I actually wonder if that's something I would do with this show. I did a show. The show that was most like a radio show was a 2-hour program. It was segmented. We had commercials. It was a lot like, a 2-hour. I don't know if did you guys have Free FM out there when that was a thing?
Never heard of that.
For us, our rock station, WYSP, which is now a sports station, but before that, it was a rock station, and they went to an all-talk format. Stern was it their answer to Stern going to Sirius? I think it was. I think when Stern announced he was going to Sirius, we'll say Clear Channel, they formed a lot of talk radio stations, and in Philly it was 94.1 Free FM, and it was like Kid Chris, who is such a great radio host. It was just a lot of Philly guys and Howard Stern to start before he left. It was just all day talk radio. It was so awesome. And there was a point to that story, but I don't know what it is. We'll just leave it at the fact that Free FM was awesome, and I love talk radio.
It should be called Frefm. Frefm.
Frefm.
Frefm.
Frefm.
It smells like a perfume. Look, smell that Frefm?
Yeah, sadly that tanked. That was like some of the inspiration of me becoming like a podcaster, was like just the talk radio. Like Stern and Kid Chris were huge influences of my original show. That's what I was getting to, was of Happy Hour, where we would sit down, and it originated as a show about beer that turned into like a radio show, and it was that's what made it feel like work, was just let's prep 5 fucking segments across 2 hours.
Yeah, buddy.
Instead of just having a casual conversation for 2 hours, we'll say.
Casual, man. This has been a coke-fueled episode, man. This has been awesome. This is what I'm talking about right here, dude. There's no prep needed. Let's go. Like we're at the racetracks, just ready and go.
And now that somehow brought me back to the original point of me being a terrible interviewer. My first interview ever was with this guy called Fat Baby Leg. He was a parody.
I would drop the ball on that one too, man. Fat Baby Leg.
He was a parody. He was like a worse Weird Al. You got to Google I don't know how it would come up. I think if you searched Fat Baby Leg Christopher Columbus, his song would come up. He was this guy who was
Fat Baby Leg Columbus.
yeah. He sings this song, Christopher Columbus, and he was our first guest on the first podcast I ever did. And the interview went like, all right, Shawn, we'll use you as an example. All right, Shawn, why do you do a podcast? And you would answer, and it would have this epic answer where you said something of me, I should pick up on it and then play off that. Okay, next question. What's it like playing your podcast with other famous people?
I like it. I like it a lot.
And it was just like this very standard Q&A of me not playing off the conversation. And that is why this show, I try to work in an interview, but that's not the focal point.
Nah, hell no. You just want to, you're probably like me. You want to get people on, people you think you're going to enjoy talking to, and you want them to be heard as them and not as some like social promotion machine, right? It's like this is what I want to hear. What you had for breakfast. I want to hear about that. I want to hear about that time you accidentally spilled like bleach into your cup and drank it. You know?
Yeah, like that is something that like I think is like an untapped market in podcasting as far as, you know, getting the movie stars on. Like, imagine in an interview, you have Hugh Jackman doing the late night circuit, and he's having the same stale conversation that he has with Jimmy Fallon and Jimmy Kimmel and all the Jimmys.
It's nice.
Yeah.
I put the claws on and I cut shit up.
Yeah, and like, don't get me wrong, I love late night television. I love, and I don't really watch it that often because, again, I do too much content creation to intake all that content I want to. But I love Jimmy Fallon. I love Jimmy Kimmel. I think we have a really strong late night lineup on TV right now. I enjoy almost, I think, every host that we have. But it's the same interview. It's the same conversation that you see Hugh Jackman on one of those shows. You see him on all the shows, really.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, exactly.
So I think that's something that like is slowly starting to happen. You're slowly starting to see some of these, celebrities go into podcasts, but I think again, they're going on these mainstream podcasts, and these mainstream podcasts at the end of the day, they're kind of just doing an hour-long version of that, and it's still it's way more enjoyable because you are getting to know the guest on a different level than you do in a 20-minute segment. But I don't know, and maybe it's because I don't listen to the Mark Maron shows or the Joe Rogan shows. Maybe I should be listening to them more than I do.
Joe Rogan's good because Joe Rogan isn't like that. He is exactly what we're doing. He's a 3-hour just casual conversation about everything, and it's never really about what the person on is wanting to talk about. It's just hanging out. Their agenda is not to promote something, but they might promote it at the end.
Yeah, and that's what I think a podcast should be. I think a podcast should be me sitting around for an hour or so talking to you, and then, oh, by the way, you're doing this cool thing. Let's talk about it real quick.
Or accidentally 2 hours.
Yeah, or an accidental 2-hour show.
Yeah.
That's what I hope. Like, and there's this guy who I wanted to get on the show that he didn't want to do it. It's one of those guys is like, it's not that I don't want to do your show. I just don't think I'm interesting, which I totally disagree. I think everyone can be interesting. So I don't mind having people who think they're not interesting on my show. Yeah. But there's this dude, Jason Tabris. He is, and I'm sorry to call you out. I don't mean to call you out not doing my show, Jay, but it's more so to talk about this article that he wrote for, I think, Uprocks, about late night television and how, it needs to be flipped on its head because we haven't had like a late night for this generation. And what he was explaining is quite literally what I'm doing with Everything Is Awesome when we go live. Yeah, and that's the song we play when we do our live show. It's one of the songs we played during our intro. But like the reason I picked a late night spin was to do something that's not being done in late night or podcasting really, and that's like just like an honest conversation with somebody. It's still a 20-minute conversation, but I don't talk about whatever they're there to promote. Like I had a guy on that was a fitness guru, and yes, we talked about that because we were able to have a lot of fun with that in the 20 minutes. Like he made us do push-ups, he made us do sit-ups, he made us do ab rolls, he took our body fat, and so we were able to do a lot of fun things with that. But I'll have another podcaster on, or an actor on, or a filmmaker on, and we won't talk about their projects at all until like the last 5 minutes or so of their 20-minute segment, and we just get to know the person. It's basically a 20-minute version of this 2-hour conversation when we do our show live, and then we have a stand-up comedian on or a musician on, and if that interests you, make sure you check us out on if it's not too late, March 26th from 2 to 4 p.m. Doom Thugs. Everything is awesome. We're joining forces to do 1 2-hour event, and we're gonna have the nerd rocker of Philadelphia, Brian Gray, on, and we're gonna have the mightiest Avenger Thor on our show. That's another thing I like to do. I like to do unconventional guests like Batman and Thor.
Yeah, I like it. Okay, hold on. Welcome back. Welcome to part 3 of the Kevin and Shawn show. Everyone turn your tapes over to side C.
Is that side C? They invented something.
Kev, hold on, and we're recording. You're back. You're good to go, Kev. Go ahead and start the show up again. This is part 3, action.
And welcome to this week's edition of Everything is Awesome. I am your host, Kev. This is a show where we sit down and talk to awesome people about awesome things. And guess what? You're getting the same of more of everything. I'm breaking. I'm broken. Oh, God.
Your show sucks. I gotta go.
Yeah. So, I mean, I guess on that note, I don't know. Let's take my audience through what you do at the start of your show, and let's do a little improv.
Okay, well, what I do is I go, hey, if you didn't do your research, we're about to do some improv. I know this is kind of weird and strange, but no, I don't really say it like that. But it's like, we're gonna do some improv. But before we start and do some improv, Kevin, tell me a quick story off the top of your head. Anything, first thing that comes to your mind.
So I went to New York a few months ago to do a live show of my podcast, and it involved a lot of walking with a heavy book bag and equipment, and I was able to make a few connections and have coffee with this fun dude and talk about podcasting, and then sit in a coffee shop for a few hours waiting for my buddy to come down, and we went to Madame Tussauds museum to play the virtual reality Ghostbuster thing that they got going there before we went to do our live show, which was a total train wreck.
Ooh. Okay, that's what we do. That's the base of our improv skit. You ready?
All right, let's go.
Okay, so use what you guys say. Say everything is awesome. Improv skit action.
Everything is awesome. Improv skit action.
Kevin, I'm here. I got your stuff. Kevin, this stuff is really heavy. Do I have to actually bring it up the stairs? Can we just take the elevator? I don't want to have to bring it all the way up to the convention floor.
Elevator? This equipment is precious. You need to take ginger steps to the top floor. It's on the 30th floor. You think I want to let you set that on the grounds while you take an elevator ride? No.
I was hoping for once. I haven't even had my break. We've been working for 6 hours now, man.
6 hours? That's nothing. This is the world of podcasting. This is showbiz.
You're right.
12-hour days minimum. All right?
All right. Let's go up the stairs. Let's go. Oh, wait. You're going to take the elevator? Why am I going to take the stairs?
I'm the talent. All right, Frederick, I'm the talent. I'm taking the elevator. I'll meet you upstairs. Don't set it down. All right? Frederick, are you listening to me?
I need to take a break.
No breaks. You can take a break at your end of your shift. I'll meet you upstairs.
Okay, we gotta go back. I made it about halfway and all your stuff fell.
What? Are you kidding? I'm waiting for the elevator. It fell. If one thing is broken, you know what's gonna happen? You're gonna have to manually record this whole show. I don't know how you're gonna do that. I'm not a scientist. How are you gonna manually record a show? That better not be broken. I hope you have the proper tools to fix it.
Don't get so crazy. Here's your Snickers bar. Take a bite out of this. Maybe you won't be such a diva.
Oh, God.
Oh, nice. Kevin's back.
Oh, Frederick,
Kev,
you know
were
what?
getting really diva out on me right now.
You know what? You know what? When you're hungry, you get a little angry. Yeah, I guess you would say I was hangry, and you don't want to see me when I'm hangry. Well, I mean, you saw me when I was hangry. I'm sorry, man. I'm sorry, Frederick.
Hold on your coffee. My assistant is bringing me and you coffee. Hold on a second. How much is that?
$16.
$16 for 2 coffees?
Well, it is New York. It's New York City. It's.
How are you gonna pay? How are you gonna pay?
Kev, did you bring the company card?
Oh, this is what you may call awkward. Totally left my wallet in Philadelphia.
Of course, this always happens. Hold on, I got it. Here you go, 16, 17. Here, take 20 and just keep the change. Here's your coffee, Kev. So I need you to be nice and wired.
Oh yeah, well, let me now.
As if you need it. As if you need it.
I like my coffee, so I know it's gonna be super sweet and it's gonna have just the right amount of sugar and it's not gonna taste like that. It's a pretty nondescript cup, so I know you didn't go to Starbucks, which is good. So I'm gonna trust you. I'm gonna trust that this is good coffee. What is this bullshit?
Hey, welcome, guys. Welcome to the Magic Mike VR experience. Do you have your tickets?
Matt, I was told this was something good, not.
I set this up. I thought this would be fun. You needed to let loose, Kev. You're always so high strung. I figured Magic Mike would, a little dancing, a little singing, a little nudity.
I mean, don't get me wrong. Channing Tatum, a fine specimen, but
do you guys have your tickets? Do you have your tickets, sir?
Well, I mean, where are the tickets? I guess we should do it.
I got it. Here you go. 1 and 2 and 3. Assistant guy, come back. You can come in with us. Okay, yeah, step right in. It's right there. The booth to the right is yours, sir.
Okay.
Kevin, podcaster Kev.
Yep.
You go to the right, and you, awkward Shawn, you go to the left. Thank you.
All right. What do I do? Do I strap a helmet on? What's all getting strapped on here?
I don't know. I'm going to my booth. I can't come in there with you. This seems a little weird. People might ask questions.
Yeah. No, I agree. I agree.
Oh, okay, sir. Are you ready to try this Magic Mike VR experience?
I guess better late than never.
Go ahead and strap this helmet on.
Okay. All right. Helmet is on. I don't see anything. Is that normal?
Yeah, that's normal. It hasn't turned on yet. Now stand still. I'm gonna put these sensors on. These for titillating. So one goes on each nipple.
Oh, well, that's weird. That's cold. It's cold. Woo.
It's cool. Hey, don't worry. I'm very professional. I got gloves on.
Okay.
One of these, and this last sensor goes right down in there.
Oh!
Yep, relax. This happens every day. Everyone gets a little weirded out. So
not normal.
Go ahead and put these headphones on, these noise-canceling headphones on.
Okay, I feel like this is a little weird. I've never been asked to pull my pants down for one of these.
Okay, stand still and make sure you cup those headphones really tight on your head.
Okay, I can't. What'd you say?
Okay. Hey, did he fall for it? Did he put the headphones on? Yeah, he's got the heads. He can't hear anything we're saying right now. So
what's this start?
What we're about to do is we're about to play this Iraqi death video. So he's gonna witness actual death in VR. It's gonna freak him out.
I can't hear you. When's it start?
I'm actually gonna leave and I'm gonna go do my own thing. I only took this trip as his assistant because I wanted to come to Vegas. I never visited Vegas. I'm gonna do my thing, so just leave him there in the dark for a while.
This is such a weird experience. I was expecting, Ghostbusters, but at least now dancing guys at this point. What's going on?
And scene!
that got a little dark with the Iraqi death scene.
Improv, whatever pops in my head comes out, man.
That's funny. Yeah, that's a lot of fun. It is something that like just doing that makes me want to learn improv more because like I can see that like how can you not want to do that on stage? Like that just seems like so much fun.
With actually like 2 or 3 different people, it would have been better.
Yeah. It is something that like having a nice little team behind. That's something that a lot of Philly is becoming known for, like comedy. Like there's I was sitting down and talking to a couple friends of mine, and they're like, yeah, like there's this sold out, I think it was in Chicago, there was like this big comedy show, and one of the Philly teams were completely sold out, and like because they're a known thing, and like it just helps our comedy scene, and like that we have a bunch of New Yorkers coming down from like whatever big improv, like I think the Upright Citizens Brigade or whatever.
Upright Citizens Brigade. Yeah.
Not them, but like that. They have like a comedy house out in L.A. and New York, right? Like a school or something.
I don't know, but I know I hear that name a lot when I listen to the Improv for Humans podcast.
I should be way better at this, but it's one of those like whatever like the big school is. I think it's the school that like Tina Fey and Amy Poole.
That probably is. UCB.
Yeah, UCB. Those schools. I think like those type of schools are coming down to Philly. We have the Philly Improv Theater, and they also teach improv, and like they're coming down to like put on shows and also like help teach and like give their own little lessons. But they do like a special Philly Improv Theater does like 4 improv classes, and then like beyond that they also have specialized classes that are like specifically duo, which is what I want to learn. I really want to learn like duo improv with my best friend. I think it would be just so much fun to do.
Yeah, once you get comfortable, if you have a group of 4 and you're all comfortable, you kind of know each other's sense of humor. You can you can do anything in improv. You just gotta. It's a little more difficult. Like me and you kind of get my humor already, so we did all right. But sometimes I've done improv skits where it was a little rough, like because they're not improvers, and I'm like forcing them to do this really awkward thing, and it worked out. Dude, you gotta let me add the sound effects to that part.
Totally.
Send me, after you're done editing that episode, send it to me, and I'll add the sound effects and send it back, and it'll be awesome.
Oh yeah, 100%. We'll do that. Yeah, I have no problem doing that. I can get that to you probably in the next couple days. That was a lot of fun. I know, and literally the only improv experience, and I won't even call it improv, is live podcasting. Like that is the most experience I have at doing it, and it's so much fun. And I'll tell you what, like that actually, like I think that helped me overall. Like kind of get over my fear of going to an improv class, because like I don't know, it's there's a weird little fear I have of that.
Yeah, I'm afraid to do it in front of people too, but you just gotta transport yourself instead of thinking of what you want to say. Transport yourself to you're doing what you think you're doing.
Yeah.
And then it's all of a sudden, it's cool. Like you caught onto it real quick, putting the headphones on and not being able to hear me talk, and you just like you caught onto it, man. Like that's improving, dude. You great, dude.
Yeah. Thank you. Yeah, it was a lot of fun. And to the point where now obviously I could hear you because I'm wearing headphones, but to the point where I was sitting in my room by myself with my hands over my ears that like kind of helped mimic the scene.
Oh yeah, I was doing it too. I was doing it with my headphones. Like what?
That's awesome. Do you find yourself? We'll throw a third question into the interview to kind of round it out. When you're doing the improv scenes for your show, do you find yourself kind of acting it out as you do it as well?
Sometimes, if we do it like this, where I'm not seeing video, it's a little easier to transport myself to my mind, transport my mind to what I think I'm doing, rather than if I'm looking at video, I concentrate a little more on them. But either way works. I listened to your episode with Casey, right? Yeah. Casey Spivey. And I just recorded with her. That episode I just released right before I started this podcast.
I'm so going to listen to that.
So our improv skit was I went into an interview to interview as her assistant, and she needed an assistant, and it was pretty fun, dude. I mean,
that's awesome.
It was great.
She was such a fun guest to have on.
I know, dude. I heard her, and I was like, I gotta talk to this chick. She's freaking like some people are just likable right off the bat.
Yeah.
I was like, yep, you guys are having this thing where, wow, it's good. I mean, I finally had a guest that talks more than me, and I'm like, I'll talk both of you, motherfucker.
And I'll tell you what, the last, like, we'll say 20 minutes has been a little even, but I think I won the talking. I think I have talked to you this time.
You did. That's cool, man. I'll have you on my podcast soon, and we'll do it all over again. We'll do some more improv.
Cool. Yeah, that was a lot of fun. One more time, throw out, like, at least your Twitter so people can follow you and get all your good stuff.
Yeah, Twitter is @awkward_podcast, or you can just search Horribly Awkward Show with one R because there was not enough character space to have two R's, but Horribly Awkward Show. I didn't want just Horribly Awkward, so if I was trying to get guests, they wouldn't just see some account called Horribly Awkward and go, like, why is this person talking about interviews? Horribly Awkward. So, yeah, but it's a lot of fun. Like, there's skits like we just did with Kevin right here, and by the time you heard it, there was probably sound effects that I added. I do that every week, and it's a lot of fun. The editing process is just, it's fun. I enjoy it.
Yeah, it's that's something that, like, this show is very little editing gets done on this show. If a guest says, "Hey, you know that part about being a Nazi I said, can you just cut that?" I'll usually do that. I'll usually honor a request. But other than that, like, I come from the world of live, and that's just not like doing live podcasting, but live streaming.
Kev, let me. You know that part I was talking about human sperm, and there was that part I was talking about the horribly awkward piss in the drink.
Yeah.
There was actually there was a part we were talking about meth and cocaine. I shouldn't make fun of those things. And there was another part. There was more stuff. I need you to cut all of that out, please.
Yeah. I mean, we got a solid 13-minute show once I cut that all out.
That's good. That's all we need. BuzzFeed. Fake news.
Sad. All right. So, Shawn, thank you for being on the show. Or Shawn, thank you for being on the show.
Thank you, Kevin.
It was a lot of fun. Learned a little bit about improv and just great conversation. Really loved it. Make sure you check out Shawn's show, The Horribly Awkward Show. It's on every podcatcher you can imagine. Just find it. If you have Android, try Stitcher first, but it may not work. If you have Apple, don't worry about it. You can listen to any show that you want.
You've got the good shit if you got Apple.
Yeah, you are like the grade A cocaine if you have the Apple.
That's the Heisenberg Blue, man. We call that the Heisenberg Blue.
All right. For Everything is Awesome, you can find us on @RealAwesomePod on Twitter, on Facebook @RealAwesomePod. You can find me on Twitter @ThatNerdyKev. That's where I do most of my tweeting and twatting. You can find this show on awesomepodcast.com and, of course, coretemparts.com. It's the podcast network that we're part of. You can find a lot of great shows on there, like Let's Chat with Revel and Friends and TV Ain't My Brain, and just a whole ton of shows that are pop culture related. So check that out. For Everything is Awesome, I'm Kev. We'll see you next time right here on awesomepodcast.com. We've been awesome.
Yes, you have been awesome.
Thank you for listening to the Court Arts Podcast Network. To listen to more Court Arts shows, visit courtemparts.com.